Hello, you're listening to Truth in Motion, Episode 4, and today we're talking about attention, which is slightly ironic because if you're listening to this while checking messages, making coffee, and thinking about dinner, you're not alone. I do it too. Attention is one of the most valuable things we have, and at the same time, it's one of the most constantly pulled because there are notifications, news, opinions, messages, things to react to, things to worry about. Our eyes move, our thoughts jump, our nervous system stays alert. And after a while, it can feel like our energy is scattered everywhere. So today, I want to slow down and look at something simple. You've heard this before multiple times, I'm sure. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. Whatever you consistently give your attention to begins to grow in your experience. If you spend a lot of time thinking about problems, the problems get bigger in your mind. If you spend time noticing something beautiful or meaningful, then things soften. Your entire body softens. And that's how attention feeds different things. And the world we live in now is very good at pulling our attention. Entire industries compete for it. Why? Because attention has value. But the nervous system wasn't designed for all that endless input. Doesn't matter if it's positive or negative. Our bodies, our nervous system needs rhythm, needs those moments of focus, moments of quiet, moments where attention returns to something very simple, a breath, gentle movement, music, nature. Without those moments, we stay activated all the time. Not necessarily panicked, although lately that can also be true for so many, but definitely alert. The body is scanning, the mind is busy, and our system never quite settles, and that can be exhausting. Attention also shapes relationships. Think about the last time someone truly listened to you. Not half listening while checking their phone or doing something else. Not waiting for their turn to speak, but actually listening. How does that make you feel? You felt different in your body because being seen and heard regulates us. It tells the nervous system that we're not alone. Somebody gets to actually connect with us. And attention is one of the most generous things we can give another human being. And it is also deeply connected to creativity. Our creativity, what makes us humans here on Earth, needs space. Ideas rarely appear in the middle of constant noise and distractions. They show up when attention slows down. Maybe while walking, or while listening to music, or cooking a meal, or just moving your body. That's why so many people say their best ideas appear in the shower, for example. Because your attention finally stopped jumping everywhere. And nature helps so much with this. For example, watching birds for a moment, listening to the wind through the trees, watching the waves or clouds move. And then our attention finally can become steady. And then the body will follow also. And there's another piece to attention that matters. The world is very good at telling us who we should be, what we should value, what success looks like, what pace we should move at, what we should care about, all the shoulds. But when attention is constantly pulled outward, it's easy to start believing those voices more than our own. So returning our attention inward, even for a few quiet moments, we start to hear something else. And it becomes easier to hear it. And that's intuition. That quiet inner voice that says, oh, this is what matters to me. This doesn't. Go this way. Pause here. Intuition doesn't shout. It does not argue. It's calm. But it needs space to be heard. Meditation, breath work is something that can help with that. Quiet, walking, listening to music, they're all there for us to help. So any moment where attention returns to the body is helpful. And that's where remembering also happens. We start remembering what actually matters to us. What kind of life feels true to us. And creativity becomes part of that remembering. When we create something, and this can be absolutely anything, simplest thing ever, our attention shifts from reacting to the world to shaping something inside it. And these can be a playlist, a drawing, a meal, dancing in the kitchen, small ideas written down. Creativity opens possibilities. And when possibilities open, attention naturally moves towards what feels meaningful, not what the world says you should chase, but what your own life is asking for. And that is powerful. Because attention guided by intuition feels very different from attention pulled by pressure. The latter is going to drain you. The first one will bring you back to yourself. And this connects back to something we talked about in the previous episode, and that is capacity. Because the more scattered attention becomes, the harder it is to stay present with anything. Love, joy, meaningful work, creativity, all of these require attention. So building a life that feels good isn't only about changing what you do. It's also about reclaiming where your attention rests. And there's nothing perfect about it. Just being intentional. That's it. And maybe that is putting the phone down for a few minutes. Or maybe it's listening fully to someone, being present with them. Or maybe creating that to-do list that will help us feel better each day, having a gentle plan as to what we want to accomplish. Small things. But our attention shapes the environment, the atmosphere of our own nervous system. And slowly, What we pay attention to becomes the shape of our life. Which brings me to something I've been thinking about, and that is attention is a form of care. What you give attention to is what you are tending to. Just like watering a plant. So maybe the question this week isn't, what should I fix? What should I listen to? Maybe the question is, where is my attention going? And does that place deserve my energy? Because once attention returns to something meaningful, then our energy follows. And life starts to feel a little calmer, a little clearer, a little more ours. And that is so powerful. This is Truth in Motion. I'll talk to you next Friday.